Welcome to the Latino Business Report. This podcast covers business, people, and issues of the day from a Latino perspective. The Latino Business Report is brought to you by TAMAC, the Texas Association of Mexican American Chambers of Commerce. TAMAC is the leading Hispanic business organization in Texas since 1975. Now for your host, J.R. Gonzales.
And thank you for joining us. Today we're going to talk a little bit about business. For all you business owners out there, entrepreneurs, people who go to the grind and put in 40, 50, 60 hours a week, there's one thing that I know that you do not enjoy doing, and that's having to deal with paperwork and HR. At least I know as an entrepreneur and business owner, that's one of the things I don't like to do. But we all know the importance of having good HR that can either make or break a company. Today our guest is Albert Martinez. Albert has a company called Solve HR and is out of San Antonio, Texas. Albert, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Albert, HR, you actually, there's another word for it. In the industry, it's called PEO. What does that mean?
The acronym PEO stands for Professional Employer Organization.
And your particular company, I know, and is very similar to a lot of companies out there. What type of services does an operation like yours actually provide?
Our industry is known for the following core services that we provide to small, medium to large businesses. Those services are the benefits administration, the workers' comp administration, the HR management, and as long as payroll administration.
Now, all these are elements that are essential for a business to be successful. So I know as one of the companies I used to own, I had about 110 employees, and just the paperwork with dealing with all that was just driving me crazy. But I think it's important for the listeners to know that the HR aspects are important because that can make or break a business, correct?
That's very true.
What are some of the things that you see in the industry that cause a business to go under, or something that's real simple that they don't do that has a very adverse effect on them?
We've been doing this since 2000. Myself, I've been doing this since 1993. So in my experience, the way I see an HR impact a small or medium-sized company is when someone goes into business, whatever the product or services that they're going to deliver, they kind of overlook the back office aspect of it, which is the human capital management. I've seen companies get in dire straight situations because of compliance issues. Depending on which state you're in, it varies. So, but typically, is when you decide to go into business, one of the first things that an entrepreneur or business owner has to accept is the well-being of his capital, with human capital in this case. And by well-being is you have to create an environment that's suitable and productive and safe for employees. A lot of entrepreneurs start their businesses not taking that into consideration.
Okay. Now, you said the different states have different issues. Let's just say for the purposes of this episode, let's kind of focus in on Texas issues. So in Texas, I know that a lot of rules and regulations. And one of the things that I see, even simple stuff, like posting your proper notifications in the break room of minimum wage and stuff. I mean, is that an important thing to have? I know I see a lot of people go into a lot of businesses that don't have that. I see some that do. What's the importance of having those type of posters up? I mean, are they necessary to have up or not?
Yes, yes, they are. Fortunately for business owners, it's a must-have because it notifies every employee that they hire. It tells them about what their rights are in regards to labor laws. So there's so much government regulatory, especially in the United States, that protects mainly the employee, but also the employer. So those posters are crucial to communicate the baseline information on what the employee's rights have.
Yeah, okay, I can understand that, Albert. Let's say you have a company though with 5 or 6 people. I mean, we're not talking 150, 200, 300 folks. I mean, everybody knows what minimum wage is. I don't think anybody's working for under minimum wage, but yet that's one of the posters that needs to be up. Some of these other things, I understand about employees understanding their rights, but what I hear you saying, are you telling me that it doesn't matter what size the company is, that you're required by law to have those posters up?
That's correct. Yes. Once you hire one employee, you can be a company that has one employee or 100 employees or 1,000 employees. The the liability that you have for that one employee is the same for the 100 or 1,000. That one employee, you have to treat that employee. You have to provide that employee a safe working environment. That employee has rights in regarding to into the Texas labor laws or federal labor laws. You can't, for example, you can't just have an employee do something that will bring harm to them. If you do, then you could fall under some kind of litigation for negligence. So, regardless whether it's just that one employee or 100 employees, the greater that number increases north of one, the greater your exposure increases. So, as an employer, it's important for you to be aware of what it is to stay in compliance. And that's where I think our industry, the PEO industry, brings the most value.
So a company such as yours, a PEO, can actually take care of all these needs for a small company, no matter what their size, correct?
That's correct.
So I'm a business owner. I have 6 employees. I make widgets. I'm a good widget maker, but I do not like paperwork. I do not like reading regulations. I do not like filling out paperwork and dealing with taxes. Is your company or companies like yours, is that something that can meet that need?
Absolutely.
Turnkey.
Yes. And we can meet that need across the various services that we provide. Let's say, for example, the most simplest term is, payroll processing. We're able to administer your payroll needs, regardless of what your payroll cycle is. And then looking deeper into the payroll administration, we as a PEO, the IRS looks at us that as one employer. So as we enroll clients under our umbrella, so to speak, the IRS sees us that every one of these employers or clients falls under our FEIN number in regards to payroll administration, payroll taxes administration. So from a small employer, is whether you have one employee or 100 employees, is we take the burden of the payroll tax filings in regards to the 941, the 940s. In Texas, it's the unemployment reports. So we do provide a core of services. Now, as you grow your business, as you grow your workforce, now you have to see, okay, how do you retain that talent? And by retaining that talent is you have to offer them benefits, and that's where we come in, where we help. We take a small client to a business client, and we can place them in a policy that suits them the best. Same thing with workers' comp. Once you have one employee or 5 employees, is you want to protect yourself as the employer, but also protect the employee in case there's an accident. So the core services we provide are in the form of HR management, workers' comp management, payroll administration, and I believe the last one was benefits.
And I was looking at your website. You do risk management as well.
Yes, sir. That falls under the workers' comp.
Workers' comp. Albert, with the world of COVID, I mean, it's a litigious society. And one of the things that I'm worried about as a small business owner, how liable are small business owners going to be in this world of COVID? I mean, is there any exposure there for their employees to come back and file suit for not providing a quote unquote safe work environment?
That's a good question, JR. Currently, it really determines state by state. I believe in Texas, in regards to workers' comp, whether an employee is able to file a workers' comp claim, it still hasn't been determined. What I've seen in the other states is they're accepting worker comp claims, or rather a COVID as a worker comp claim, only if it's like a first responder. For a non-first responder, then it's still not determined yet. So the exposure liability is really unknown at this point.
So it's kind of up in the air, and we're just not sure what's going to happen. And it would be state by state make those
Yes,
determinations.
Sir. The regulation, yes.
Now, currently, Solve HR, your company, is in what, 47 states across the country?
48, yeah, approximately.
47, 48 states. Kind of a headache, isn't it? I mean, if you have to keep up with the regulations of each state.
As you would think so, as if you're an employer and you take on a responsibility, a single employer, yes, it would be. But that's what we do. That's our expertise. We're fully staffed with talent that is knowledgeable about each state's regulations. So we're able to convey that information, that data to our clients. That's one of the one of the aspects of our business that we bring value to our client.
Now, your company is based out of San Antonio, but originally, Albert, you're from where? Rio Grande Valley in Texas?
Yes, a small town called Mission, Texas.
Mission, Texas, I know it well. So from Mission, Texas, you went to where? Where did you go to school at?
Went to school at a small university called Pan American in Edinburgh, Texas.
I know that. There you go, Pan American. Go Broncos. From
exactly, yes.
So,
yes.
Curiosity here. What did you major in?
Finance.
Finance. Okay, I can understand that. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the interest, and everybody works differently. I know that, but what caused you to get interested in starting an HR company?
I first got exposed to the industry, the PO industry, back in I think it was 1993. It's been a while. I was working for a gentleman who owned a couple of franchise brands. One of the challenges he was having was at maintaining, administrating the employee policies for each one of these franchises in various states. So he took a quote in from a PEO. At the time, I had no idea what a PEO was or what they did. But when he took the quote, we in the accounting department looked at it, and we couldn't make heads or tails as far as what the industry or the service actually was. They touched about payroll, benefits, workers' comp, employee administration, and we thought, well, we do that already. So why do we need that industry? So that was the first time I got exposed. We decided not to go with the quote. Then years later, I left that company. And lo and behold, one of the jobs I interviewed was a PEO. So it surfaced again for a second time around. This time around, I kind of thought, okay, what exactly do I want to do with this company as far as my future? And so the more I looked at it, it really intrigued me, because here's a company, a PEO, that provided sort of like these multiple departments to small to medium companies. And I thought some of the reasons why small companies were failing was because they were so focused on the paperwork, the daily administration, that they lost focus on why they went into business.
Understandable. Like I said, I think one of the things that I recognize as entrepreneurs, whether it's widgets or they're draftsmen or CPAs or own a taco truck, whatever it is, whatever your skill is, you enjoy doing that. I'm a believer that money should be a byproduct of doing what you enjoy doing. But federal paperwork and taxes and payroll, that is something that I do not like. I know there's people out there like you and your team that love doing that type of stuff and make a living at it, but I could see where a small company could have a great advantage of hiring a company such as yours. So Turnkey, so if we have somebody out there that owns a small company and is dealing with employees or worried about payroll or meeting all the taxes, and the tax deadlines are moving because of COVID and because of winter storms here in Texas, they can just basically turn it over to you and go, help me out here. Well, that's good to know. And Albert, I don't want to necessarily get into your pricing or anything, but how expensive is a service like this for a small business?
It's attainable. I mean, if it wasn't, then there wouldn't be such an industry. But it really is. Yeah. When you look at the actual cost breakdown on whether for a small employer, especially starting off, whether you want to take on that responsibility, liability, that means that you really have to hire an HR manager. You have to hire a payroll manager, and then have to also employ someone with benefits of background. So when you look at the cost shift between hiring an internal department or just outsourcing it, outsourcing becomes a much better value. There's a huge growth and movement with outsourcing, especially now with COVID. So now more than ever, I think companies like us, PEO, we're able to save quite a bit, not only on the hiring of an employee, but also on the bottom line for a small business.
Okay. Well, I can see your point, because if you're a growing company and you have that need, you hire an HR person who knows all the rules, then they share all those rules with everybody else, and you got a bigger problem on your hands in the beginning. I mean, it just kind of mushrooms out. It's kind of like, and then plus you got to pay that person and make sure all their HR needs are met and all their payroll. Okay, it makes sense. Outsourcing, got it. So I guess that's one of the reasons your company is so big. I mean, 48 states. That's impressive, Albert. Now, this isn't your first business. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, aren't you? That's what you've been called. What are some, out of curiosity, if you don't mind sharing, what are some of the other businesses that you own or have owned?
I've in the past years, I've tried my hand in logistics company, a warehouse company. Also tried my hand as far as roasting coffee, a roaster. So those are the ones that come to mind.
Okay.
So
Now, I'm curious the way you worded it. I've tried my hand at. Does that mean they weren't
Yes.
successful, or they're still on, or some of them still ongoing concerns?
No, they weren't as successful as I needed them to be. So, and a big part was because I think the passion wasn't there. I think a big part of being an entrepreneur is, it's a trial and error, really. Now there's so many books and so many information on the internet that, kind of tells you on how to narrow down your, say, the business or the you're going to venture, right? But it really, in the most simplest form, is if you find what you're passionate in, regardless of what it is, and then see how, if there's such a, and then take that passion and then determine if there's a business around that passion. If there is, then the likelihood of success are much greater.
So, in other words, monetizing what you enjoy doing. And you enjoy doing payroll and HR and paperwork and all that other stuff.
No, actually, I enjoy helping small businesses. That's really what drives my passion. What we do, the services, is just the core on, and allows me to help. But I enjoy helping small to medium-sized businesses.
Okay. So your passion is to help businesses. And
That's
I
correct.
also know you have an extreme passion for helping other Latino-owned businesses, correct?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
you hire a team of people. How many people do you have, if you don't mind me asking, how many people do you have working for you or within the scope of Solve HR?
North of 50 is the
Okay,
last
north
count
of
we
50.
had.
Are some of those contract labor, or are they all employees?
There's a mixture. There's a mixture of both. Yes.
So, okay, I'm doing the math here in my head. So you got north of 50. You have 47 states. I'm not even going to try to calculate what kind of payroll that you're actually doing. So it can be a very lucrative business then. And you're enjoying what you're enjoying what you do, which is a plus. Like I said earlier, I've always believed that money should be a byproduct of doing what you enjoy doing. So, Albert, I have to ask, Where to from here? Are you going to continue growing this? Are you going to be looking at starting another business, or what's in the cards for Albert Martinez?
No, we're actually. It's a good question, Jr. So my goal is to really grow this business to the next level. I just see the potential and the need for our industry. So we internally we've really allocated funds to improve our technology. We've hired some really great individuals that are have brought a lot of knowledge. So our goal is to grow the business.
As you grow your business, you're constantly learning, and I imagine things are constantly changing, especially in this current environment. Albert, what are some of the top reasons people go out of business?
Top reason, in my experience, have been they failed to. One is besides the fact that they've gone into a business that the product or services that they're going to sell, there's not a need for it. Besides that, the some of the reasons that I've seen why businesses go have a struggle maintaining is because their failure to take care of the back office. Um, I've seen business go because they get into some kind of issue of a compliance issue as an employee in regards to an EOC claim. The lawsuit's huge. That kind of takes out the company. So, and that's where we come in. That's where I feel that we can help those business owners and to stay compliant. Don't worry about the back office so much. Focus on the product and services, and we're able to alleviate that burden.
So by alleviating that burden for them, it leaves them free to do what they enjoy doing. So if you had some advice to give a young entrepreneur out there who is about to start a business, or even one that was established, what would be your top two or three suggestions or bits of advice that you could give somebody to make sure they have a successful business?
I guess the top three recommendation would be is if you're an entrepreneur that's just starting a business, or you're thinking about starting a business, then I'd recommend that they would fully understand and research the market they're going into. Understand who the players are, how they plan to fit into that market, and if there's a need for that market, for that product and services that they're going to enter. Secondly, is once you determine that there is a market for the product or service that that you're going to sell, is manage your finances. Know what it's going to cost to deliver that product and service. Know what your break even point is. Plan for the next 6 to 3 years in advance. Know exactly how you're going to scale that business from day one. I think lastly, also too, is if you it's important that you find someone that within that industry that can mentor you. Learn from their mistakes, learn from their successes, opposed to trying to do it on your own.
Now, these are some good tips, and if you look at them, face value, it's just like common sense. But how many people out there actually start businesses, invest a lot of money, time, and effort without even having a basic business plan?
That's very true, and I think it's because they get so excited about the product or service, about starting the business, that they start focusing on the little things that, though they're important, but not as important, like creating the logo, creating the core values, focusing on the website, that though they're important, but they really should be. They don't spend enough time focusing on the top three. Understand the market, understand the finance, talk to or build a network within that industry.
Now, I'm not trying to spend on the basics, the nuts and bolts of the industry, as opposed to focusing on the sales and the marketing and the fun stuff. The fun stuff.
Yes, exactly.
When I was looking at your website, I couldn't help but notice you have a comment in there, a statement that says hassle-free HR. So hassle-free, gosh, I mean, hassle-free HR to me is kind of an oxymoron, but people do what they enjoy doing. The services that you provide, I can see, are very, very essential and very important to people. But Albert, you have a lot of folks out there that start businesses that English is a second language. They're here, they're working, they're starting businesses, they're doing everything, but sometimes they don't understand all the rules and regulations, just like anybody doesn't understand all the rules and regulations of owning and starting and growing in business. So do you provide information in Spanish as well?
Yes, we do. That's a great topic. Which one that about 2 years ago, we myself and a company, we got involved in an initiative that is being sponsored by Stanford University. It's called the Latino Business Action Network. The goal of that initiative is to educate the Latino entrepreneur. And through that initiative, the last 2 years, we discovered that there is a need for our product and services to the Latino entrepreneurs that hasn't been there for a while and or at all. So what we've done is started an initiative to push our products and services to that market and in the form that they understand it. So we, being Hispanic and Latino, we used to speak to them and in a language that maybe they didn't understand, but now we're kind of going in. We took a step back and say, okay, let's communicate in the language that they understand, that they feel comfortable. So we started that initiative about 2 years ago, and I think we're really excited about it.
It's been helpful to you. I imagine it's actually grown your business as well.
It's really it's grown our business in the form that we're able now to really communicate what we do, our products, our services, but really educate a young Latino entrepreneur community. And I think it's a win-win situation.
With that win-win, I also recognize the fact that a lot of small businesses and Latino businesses are family-owned.
Yes, they are.
So you're talking HR, dealing with HR stuff within family. I mean, familia. I mean, come on. I mean, to me, there seems like some lines that need to be defined, or the lines become blurred. I mean, that's my cousin, that's my brother. I need him to do this. Well, that's against HR policy. But I'm like, what the heck, HR policy? That's my hermano, man. Go do it, man. I mean, what? I mean, these are real issues that people have to deal with, though, aren't they?
Yes, we do have. Yes, there is that aspect of that community where they're small and they've been small for a while. So what we try to do is basically educate them in order to scale your business, you have to look down the horizon. And by looking down the horizon is you're going to have to expand your human capital and hire accordingly. And that might be beyond the family. So though we really haven't come across that issue quite a bit, we know that eventually, like our community, you're right, we like to hire family. And it's hard to grow beyond that.
And as far as a lot of the upstarts within the Latino community, I know that they are family businesses or small businesses. Amongst Latinas, I mean, I think, well, first of all, the last time I looked, Hispanic-owned businesses were growing about 3 times faster than any other market segment out there. As far as Latina-owned businesses, they're growing like 6-7 times faster. The thing that I haven't seen yet is the attrition rate of some of these businesses and their success. But as far as Latinos, the population growing, more and more entrepreneurial, it's a growing market, and it's a very real market. But I can see where a company like yours, Albert, could be a big asset and benefit to these companies because there's just a lot of rules out there. I mean, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I've owned multiple businesses. I'm well educated. But yeah, God, I hate the paperwork. I just hate dealing with that. So a company like yours would just take a lot off a plate. Edit. I can see where a company like yours could take a lot off of somebody's plate. Before we go, Albert, do you have any closing suggestions or how can people reach you? I mean, I know you have your website. What's your website address? And I'll make sure this is in the notes on the on the podcast notes as well.
Yes, I think right now the best form to explore the possibilities of them outsourcing their administration to us is to go onto our website at solvehr.com.
Solvehr.com. And do you have a place where they can maybe ask an occasional question or two just to try to get some clarification without having to hire your firm?
Absolutely. There's a section on the website to contact us. And through that medium, they can ask questions. They can reach out to us, and we'll have somebody qualified to give them a call or respond to them in a timely manner.
Okay, I can see that's a great benefit because there's a lot of folks that have a simple question. They may have a need for you, not realize it yet, or they just need a question answered from a source that they can depend on. Well, Albert, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. I hope we can do this again. And what I'd like to do is, if it's okay with you, is maybe at a later date have you or some of your people come on to the show to talk about other issues, because we're talking about people, businesses, issues of the day, and as things occur, I'm sure we're going to have some questions, and we'd love to have you back.
Thank you, JR. It's my pleasure to sit down with you and really talk about the not only what we do, but what we can do for the Latino community. And we look forward to coming back. Absolutely.
Well, great. And I know, Albert, my research and what I've been told by some of your people, I know that you're kind of shy about talking about your success and everything you do for the community, but I know that you do a lot. Albert Martinez, entrepreneur, business owner, and a person who's driven. You're driven for success, and you have a passion to help other people. I admire that. I want to thank you for that, but I also would like you to tell us before you go, what drives you? I mean, if somebody wants to be successful, whether it be in business, in life, or whatever they choose, I know there's that core thing, that fire in your belly. What gives you that fire? What can you share with some other people that will hopefully maybe inspire them to go on and move forward for success?
I think what really inspires me, and if I could leave something behind as far as what I'd recommend, is be passionate with the product or service that you decide to go to business with. Because I think if you're passionate about your product and services, I think the revenue comes after automatically. Don't focus on the revenue. Yes, know the numbers, but be passionate about the product and service.
And I guess the best way to focus on your passion instead of the details is to hire your HR firm to do all the work for you, right?
That'll definitely help them stay focused. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Albert Martinez, the president and CEO of Solve HR from the lower Rio Grande Valley of Mission, Texas, and a graduate from the Broncos Pan Am University. Albert, thank you for being here. Folks, if you like this episode, go ahead and hit like, follow us. There'll be more to come. And you've been listening to the Latino Business Report, produced by TAMAC, the Texas Association of Mexican American Chambers of Commerce.